So tell me about that hat you got there, sir. I'm digging it.
Yeah, I figured I've been doing all the podcasts with one hat, the Gurn Brothers hat. So I figured I'd change it up a little bit and go a little bit different style, wider brim, and change it up. I tend to run with some. Once I get stuck on something, I tend to run with it. So I figured I got to break out of my comfort zone and get a new lid.
I'm kind of loving it. I'm digging it. I like the color.
Yeah,
I think it's your thing now.
Yeah, no, I've run into some people lately and they've said, "Hey, I don't recognize you without your hat on." It's like, so that's how I guess I'm known for the hat and the glasses. And I don't even wear glasses, by the way. These are reading glasses. So,
but it suits you. And I think it looks great. So on that note, I think we're just going to go ahead and say, let's kick off the Mike is Listening show. Paul Di Liegro, we're going live.
All righty.
The mic is listening.
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 Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mike is Listening show. This is going to be a live stream Wednesday shindig for me because as a co-founder of Innovation Media Enterprises, I produce so many podcast shows. I want to promote all the shows equally and give a lot of fair share and love and all that good stuff. But I'm finding out very quickly I can't do it every week without sounding like a broken record. So thought of a different way of sharing some really cool shows, getting to know the host at the same time. And then you decide if you want to go ahead and, subscribe, follow, listen, or possibly start your own podcast show. So that is the summary of the Mike is Listening. This is episode number 2. So we're a little shaky, but not so much because you know why? We've got Paul Di Liegro, the host of Business Brains and the Bottom Line, joining me today and making me feel a lot better about things. Paul, welcome, my friend.
Hey, Syya, thanks for having me. Congrats on the new show you have. It's like anything you do, I'm sure it's going to be a great success. But,
keep going.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. This is fun. It's nice to be on this side of the mic for a change versus hosting. I'm kind of like letting you run the show. It's your show, so just ask me anything you want. Here we go.
Here we go. It sounds like a dare.
Well, no, not anything. Let me qualify that a little bit. I don't want to get in trouble.
No. So Paul, I love working with you. You are a client of Innovation Media Enterprises. So we do produce your podcast, Business Brains and the Bottom Line. And I thought you'd be a great person to kick off with because we do have a history together. We worked in tech sales together.
Correct.
And, because of our friendship and, working relationship, I convinced you to do this whole podcast thing. So can I ask you now that you're now a veteran, you're fast approaching your year mark.
Yep.
What were you thinking in the very beginning and to where you see today? Like, has it changed or has it evolved?
Yeah, it definitely has changed. I mean, you hit it right in the head. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. I thought you were crazy, number one. But you kept pushing me and you kept pushing me to get out of my comfort zone. And I remember distinctly when the pandemic hit, you called me and you had always said, I thought you'd be a good podcast host, but if you've never done it before, I'm not a media veteran or any of that. But when you said, hey, I think you can do this. And then the pandemic hit, you said, look, if we're going to do it, let's do it now because we're all going to be sitting at home for the foreseeable future. And that's how it started. And I got to admit, the first few episodes, I couldn't even sleep the night before. I was like, oh man, I can't believe I'm doing this. And you kept giving me the kick in the butt that I needed. And so I thank you for that. Because again, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. But now 19 episodes in, we've got 19 published. I still think I have a lot to learn. I still have to get better at my craft. It's the thing I've learned is it's hard to know when to shut up and when to let your guests talk because you don't want to just throw it to your guests and sit there for 45 minutes and just say nothing. So it's I'm learning that skill too. But having been in sales all these years, you get some of that training when you're listening to customers and working with customers. So it wasn't too far of a reach, but it's a work in progress.
You know what I find very interesting is, again, I stepped away from the corporate tech sales stuff, but I've noticed an evolution of the way I engage with folks as far as I do find myself, and we talk about this all the time, everybody, listening skills. hearing skills are totally
Right.
two different things, right? And just being able to relax a little bit more. And I think for me, selfishly, I'm going to say, ever since I've been doing this whole podcasting thing and listening to others and, producing for others, is that you do really learn how to listen better with podcasting because you're really focused on that individual. You're not
Right.
selling anything. And I'm wondering, do you think it's improved your abilities as a salesperson to engage and really learn about what your client needs are?
Yeah, because you again, you hit it right on the head. When you're hosting a podcast, you can't be running over each other. So you've got to let that guest complete their sentence, right?
Wait,
Hear
what?
you're-
What?
Yeah, exactly. Huh? Complete their sentence and then respond to that. And we all tend to think before we speak. So sometimes with customers, you got to learn to let them get their message across and then respond to them. So I definitely think it has helped me. And it's got me, everyone has anxiety of being on camera. That was one of the things that was a little nerve-wracking for me at the beginning. Everyone hates seeing themselves on camera and listening to their voice. And that has helped me in front of customers too, because I'm more relaxed when I got to give a presentation. So
Right.
it's definitely have some added benefits in that regard too.
What's funny is that I find the nuances, like how badly organizations like Toastmasters, why it exists and how much you need. I'm not advertising for Toastmasters,
Right.
but like I just did it, right?
Yep.
That intentionality of having a conversation that's much more thoughtful and more candid. And, I'm looking at comments here, and Jerry, you're cracking me up because I kicked your butt too, but not really. Jerry,
do I get to see the comments? I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, you just go on. Well, you'd have to go on LinkedIn, and actually, if you click on the top on the right there, you'll see comments.
Okay.
And Joseph, I know I'm crazy.
Got
I
it.
know it's what I'm doing. It's what I do. But if you want to actually comment on that, Paul, you have to actually get onto the app. If your computer's slow
Yeah,
like
no,
mine, I recommend going on another device.
I don't want to multitask too much. I've confused myself. I'm just trying to see if I see any people I know that are, commenting.
And that's the funny thing about live streaming, right? So you do need to have some multitasking skills, of which we know I'm going to crash and burn every single time because we know Syya and multitasking is not a thing to do. But so I loved the way you've evolved over time with Business Brains and the Bottom Line. It's not just talking about techie tech, though you've got guests that are from the tech world.
Yep.
It's almost like that was your only connection and everything else is wide open to the topics that you talk about. Is that how you envisioned it, or did it evolve into that?
I hate to say it's kind of how I envisioned it, because I kind of knew that if you just have technology, so I may get whacked for saying it's not the most exciting industry in the world. Yeah, it's exciting to a few people, but I always kind of felt like people wanted to hear stories. People love
Right.
hearing stories. Like if you look at my most successful podcasts, it's all been about. We had BB on, the anxiety coach. We had Emery on talking about his grandmother and her, migrating from Italy and all the lessons he learned. We had Bobby Martini on with the author of Citizen Somerville, and that was an unbelievable. People love hearing stories. People don't want to really hear, hey, I've got this disk that has this many, this much
Terabytes.
speed and latency, this much
Exactly.
latency and IOPS and bore me to tears type stuff. And so I always felt like I wanted to do more than just technology. And I think that served us well, because a lot of people have said to me, I love the variety because I never know what I'm going to get with you.
I love that. It's almost like it's a roll of the dice day,
Yep.
but
Yeah,
you learn something new. So
Yeah.
here's a good question. Hey, Joseph, on Facebook, here's asking, how do you handle guests that run their mouth because they're nervous, or how do you not interrupt?
Good question. So I've had that happen to me, and people have said to me, you try to get a word in and he wouldn't even, guest wouldn't even let you. It's hard. I don't know. That's a good question. I try to kind of get them back on track, but it's a hard one. If someone doesn't shut up, I'm not sure how you shut them up. And I guess I'm just not experienced enough to know how to do that yet, but you try to interject and pivot and move them off the topic if they're just going to go on and on. But it is a problem. I would agree with you on that one.
I think it does take it does take practice. It's not natural.
Yeah.
It does require to kind of anticipate in that context of when they're breathing, because at some point someone does have to stop to breathe.
Yeah.
And that's when I try to not cut off, but try to, move the conversation a different direction,
Yep.
nudge it along. But, and I struggle with that all the time. You do have people that run their mouths and
Yeah.
just don't stop. No, Joseph, you cannot turn off their mic.
No,
I've-
yeah, I know.
Hey,
You
Brian
could.
Little.
You probably could, but it's probably not going to do you any good. But well, so that's why we record, right? That's the first. I think one of the first live ones I've ever done. So we record and we can cut bad stuff out or not even publish it if we don't want to, if it's that bad. But I haven't had to do that yet. But
well, that's a funny thing you should mention about. Thank goodness we're not going live. So what I want to do is play a little clip of the Bobby Martini episode. Do you want to hold up the book real quick?
Yep, Bobby, if you're out there, Bobby Martini, the author of Citizen Somerville, Growing Up at the Winter Hill Game, great book. Bobby's a character, as you'll see from these video clips, and that's been my most popular download. My Terry Murray, our president, always cracks up because you do great when you have gangsters on, you know.
Yeah, I know. You know, it's so funny to me. It's like I was talking to someone about that. They're like, "Wait, what does gangsters have to do with technology?" And I'm like, absolutely nothing. Yeah. It just happened to be a really cool guy and a really good conversation. And there is the bottom line when it comes to business, right? Because you know, loosely, that was, you know, mafia business is business.
Yeah. Bookmakers got to make a living too. They have a bottom line. They have to make money.
So let's go ahead and let's play a quick snippet here. And yes, there is a reason why I played this. It's a little racy on a Wednesday morning, but let's live a little. And play.
I mean, he punched him out. It's a fight. He goes, well, we don't like this, and that's just the way it is, and we'll take care of it ourselves. So a week or so goes by, and Buddy's dog, he had a German Shepherd. His wife, Jean, hears barking, and she goes, Buddy, someone's out there. So
let's go ahead, and I'm going to correct it right now because I just realized I just highlighted the wrong link. As I'm apt to do. Okay, here we go.
He used to bring it over to the station. And they go, where's the sergeant? I go, just follow the trail. This big Dick Edgy was about this big. And he would spill it everywhere and eat like an animal. He's a big fat guy. One of the best guys I ever knew, though.
So another funny story. I laughed at this one. So your father got out on a weekend furlough.
Oh.
And you get a call from Howie. Tell us about that one.
Well, Howie says, I want to talk to you up with the hill. So pal Joey's had an office upstairs.
Yep.
So you go around back and had these long stairs to go up. I go up. I go, what's up, Hal? And I look in the back. There's like who's who of
Murderers Row.
Hitmen. Let's just put it that way. There was enough in there that, you know, I have like maybe a fingernail left if they wanted to take care of me, you know. So, but I don't know. I'm an innocent kid. I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm in my 20s. I don't know. Was it 20s? Was it 80s? Maybe 30s. So Howie goes, I'm calling your father. We want to know why he's leaving jail. He's been there 17 months. Now, been there 17 months, mind you.
Right.
And so he gets him on the phone. I go, hey, Dad, how you doing? He goes, good. I go, what's going on? Nothing. I go, hey, I'm here with some guys here, and they want to know why y'all leaving jail. He says, you tell them to go tell them to
You may have to bleep that out, Bobby, by the way.
All right. Well, tell him to go. Is that better? Screaming at me. He hangs up. I'm on the phone like this. Yeah, Dad. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, good. All right, I'll tell him. He said everything's all right. He's come out to see his girlfriend and have a little sex. I mean, what's wrong with that? So now I know. So Howie goes, all right. I'll see you later. I went down the stairs, right, Paul? You know, Winter Hill was like this.
Yep.
O.J. Simpson couldn't have caught me.
Oh my gosh. Can I just tell you, that just cracks me up. Every time I hear that over and over again, it's such a good story. We couldn't take it out, right? And
yeah, that was the thing. I mean, you know, got to clean up the language a little bit, but you did a nice job of putting the whoopsies in there. That was funny.
I couldn't help.
That's a true story. I mean, that's a true story, and it's unbelievable. I mean, because they thought his father was going to rat on him, And he obviously wasn't, but they didn't know that at the time. And so they, figure they have Bobby call his father and, put a little pressure on the old man. But the old man, he didn't bend. He told him where to go, as you could tell. You can use your imagination of what he told him to do.
Yeah. So can I ask you this? Why did you choose out? There's so many other stories on there. That was a little bit more on the, knowing Bobby.
Yep.
That could have gone in so many different directions. Why did you choose that one versus another story?
Well, because I thought that was one of the funniest ones, to be quite honest with you, right? The most interesting ones, because of, the language and what his father said. Because he said, that's what my father said. And, Bobby was scared to death. Like he said, I think after that, he said he was worried. He was walking around the city with a 22 caliber handgun under his sleeve, thinking he's going to get whacked, But,
yeah.
But yeah, and to that point, we're gonna have Bobby on again. I've been working with him on setting up part 2 because there was so many stories that we never got to. And he's a great storyteller, great guy, and so we'll have some fun with that one too.
It cracks me up though. It's like there was that one time when we were recording, and I guess his wife didn't answer the phone fast enough.
Yeah.
Oh, it just cracked me up because again, it's like one of those things that we had to edit out of the show itself. But he's sitting there trying to talk and ignore it, and and it's an old school phone too. They have a landline still, and he's just like, you can see him just kind of going. And then finally, he just turned and looked and yelled at his wife. And he's like, "Are you gonna get the phone or something like that?" I just thought it was hilarious. It was just so quintessentially Bobby, but we just unfortunately had to take it out. Like it was just a bummer for me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a character for sure. And like I said, he's, so our history, we both grew up in Somerville, Massachusetts, just outside the Boston area. So he's a little older than me. So I always knew Bobby and kind of the gang that he ran with. And again, I was in a different type of crew, right? I was a jock. I played sport. That was my guys that I hung with, but we all knew each other. And believe it or not, when I first decided I wanted to do the podcast, I had some ideas of what I wanted to do. He was like one of the first guys I wanted to interview. But I didn't want to do him first. I wanted to have a few. I think he was number 11, if I remember correctly. So I wanted to have a couple under my belt first before I did him. And so, it's worked out well. I've got a lot of good feedback, especially from the Somerville crew.
Just insane. It's insane. Okay, Paul, I got to ask you, you're from Somerville, and I've known you again professionally. And to me, in my world, you're tech. To know that there's this aspect about you that, I mean, you could have gone the way Bobby, went down that path.
Yeah.
What was it that separated you, or how did you not go down the same path? And you could have done the Somerville gang, next gen, whatever. So why not?
It's funny. We talk about that a lot with my friends. My core group of friends, we got like 5 or 6 of them that all kind of came blue collar families, qualified for free lunch. Fathers were all blue collar workers, never had any money. But I think it's parents and we're going to do a show on this one, by the way, of how some people went one way, we went the other. And I think it's, not that if you have bad parents, you're going to turn out bad, but I think just having, 2 parents that care and take after you, take care of you and teach you good morals and values, because it had nothing to do with money. Because none of us had money. We all went to state schools because that's all we could afford. We all paid for our own education, bought our own cars. And we were fine with that. We didn't feel like we were entitled kids that our parents needed to pay for our education and pay for our cars. And that's just the way it was. And I have no regrets about that. It's just, like I said, I had 2 good parents that cared. And I think that's the key, because and I don't want to name names, but we have several guys in our neighborhood that either got murdered, went to jail, drug dealers, the whole bit, but we just were clean cut kids. We were just guys that we knew that was not the right way to go.
I mean, it boggles my mind, because it's not, you guys didn't even do like the medium swing. You've got, previous guests that's an investor, like that guy made money. And like, it's just crazy to me that when you guys veered off, like very successful professionally.
Right. That was John Bullock. He's a venture capitalist. He's one of my best friends. I was in his wedding. But again, that's a good example of a guy and he came, broken home. He did his upbringing was not the easiest, but yet we all kind of stuck together. And we've talked about this. We had a good group of guys that were all very competitive with each other, athletically, academically, and we kind of pushed each other. And I think that helps too. We had a good circle of friends, and you know, we were a member of we were all members of the East Somerville Youth League. It's a sports organization run by Fran Ferraro, and that was a big help to us because it was kind of our community to keep us off the streets and play ball. But you hit it right in the head. We could have easily gone one way versus the other way. But I know a million guys from Somerville that are greatly successful. And what I mean by that is it's not all about money. I know several guys that became police officers and firemen, that just civil servants, teachers that have all had great careers, and they could have gone the other way too. So, you know, I'm pretty proud to be from where I'm from. I have a lot of great people that I know growing up, and still some of them are still my best friends till today. I mean, my wife's always amazed at how long I've had these friends for. I mean, I think my longest friend is Vic Silvestri. He's my youngest daughter's godfather. We started hanging around when we were 4 years old.
Oh, wow. I'm assuming we're going to get him at some point.
Yeah, we're going to get him. Different story. I have a very nice story about him and his family that I want to showcase. Just a matter of scheduling him, getting him on. But I'll keep that one. I'll keep that a secret. People that know me probably know what I'm going to talking about, but we'll keep that one a secret for now. But
so yeah. we'll keep that a secret for now. So just want to give a quick little shout out here. So you know, full on commitment to sharing and making sure that we've got some cool podcasts for you to check out that may or may not be that you would think you'd even be interested in. So I want to give a shout out to my friends over at Noonish Podcast. They actually live stream every Wednesday around noon. For those that do understand the joys of production and live streaming, sometimes you just don't start on time. So hence the name Noonish. So I want to say thank you to Jonas Bull and Jonathan Anderson and Mark Clayton. You guys are amazing. Today, they are going to have a guest. Now let me make sure I got the correct text here. Is Isaiah Stanback. He's at ISTANBACK on Instagram, and also at Noonish_live on everything else on social media. So guys, go definitely check them out. It's just a lot of fun. And these are all professionals, former MLB, former NFL. That's Mark and Jonathan. And then Jonas is the techie head. They're just all thinking about social games and sports and just cultural conversations for fun. Pretty fun guys. So check out Noonish Podcasts every Wednesday. They do live stream, and you'll see them on YouTube as well. So you're welcome, Jonathan. I love you guys. You're doing great things. So let us go ahead and bring this back to why I love Business Brains on the Bottom Line, because there are mutual friends that we have that we know professionally. Right. But again, when you start to humanize and learn about people, it just makes me appreciate everyone so much more. So I kind of want to give a shout out here and highlight another guest, Emery Geosit. So Emery, I know you're going to be embarrassed for highlighting you, but we're doing this because he is in progress to launch some amazing stories of his own about his grandmother. And it's tentatively titled Leadership Lessons from Grandma. And guys, it's going to be BADASS. So here's a little highlight on just a leadership lesson from his grandma.
Peacemaker, these two families that were kind of arguing over to the house, and she made sure all her daughters had everything clean and perfect, and the room was going to be exactly the way it needed to be. She even positioned the chairs so that the people that she was trying to make peace would be across from one another. And let's just say the second they came in, it wasn't going well. There was already, this isn't going to fly.
Yeah.
So my grandmother wanted to change the topic because it started getting heated. So she looked around. She just bought brand new Tupperware. And you remember what Tupperware was like. It was like the miracle, right? So she said she wanted to show them how tough the Tupperware was. So she had her Sunday gravy, for you non-Italians, marinara. And she put it in there and she sealed it. And she, wait till you see what this thing will do. And she slams it to the ground. Sauce goes.
Oh, God.
Every wall, ceiling, the whole nine. It broke the tension.
Sure, yeah.
Because there was sauce everywhere. And my poor aunts and my mother had to wind up cleaning the whole thing up. But that was her point. Now, you equate that to leadership. And you say when you've got a conflict within your organization, the leader finds a way, anyway, to make sure that you can resolve that conflict so that the people coming away from it feel good about what's been resolved.
Right.
So this family, thanks to the sauce all over the wall, was like, that's hysterical. We're fighting over silliness.
Yeah.
And they came back together. So it's she's got great stories.
Hey, by the way,
So what did you think of that?
Yeah,
When he told
no,
that
so
story, I was like, oh, it's unorthodox leadership, but it was a way to
yeah,
distract them to focus on hand, right? The
yeah.
task on
So
hand.
so back in those days, right? I mean, we talked about this during the podcast. There were no books to read. There were no lessons from like, leaders that you just kind of did it by instinct, right? And some
Hmm.
people's instincts are better than others. And she was a great leader. It sounded like she had a successful business. And he has carried those lessons into his professional life.
Right.
And of course, me personally, I'm all for my grandparents from Italy. So it's, a lot of the things that he talked about, I experienced in my life as well. So it was kind of nice. And we had a lot of synergy going. Who knows? He and I maybe talked about doing a podcast on our own, something Italian based. Who knows?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I don't want to give away too much of the chat, but Jonathan, you'd mentioned Sunday gravy, that debate between sauce and gravy. I didn't even know that existed. Like you guys were actually educating me of the nuances, which is, that's one thing about culture, right? And different upbringings is it's such an eye-opening opportunity to see where someone's come from, right? And that moment in time that you can just share together. I love it. Absolutely adore it.
Yeah, well, I'll just make this one comment. I never referred to it as gravy, and I think I told Emery that I had a bone to pick with him. To me, gravy was something the Irish people put on mashed potatoes. It wasn't something you put on pasta. But again, that's just the way I was raised. I never heard gravy until I started getting older, and I'd hear people refer to it as gravy, and I could never understand that. But that's the way they were raised, right? So to them, that's right. And to me, it's always been sauce to me.
Yeah, well, like I said, as my boyfriend loves to joke around me, I'm not from here, so I have some curious things myself. Like I grew up. My parents are I'm the firstborn generation in the United States, and we don't know any better. My mom doesn't know anything, and so I grew up eating Sara Lee cheesecake, frozen.
Oh, nice.
Frozen. Like I thought, because it was, they serve it, they sell it frozen. So my mom just thought it was like another form of ice cream. So growing up, I ate frozen cheesecake. And then one day I was at a restaurant or something and I was eating it and it was served at the proper temperature. And I'm like, this is rather mushy. Like it's warm. It's like, do they know they've left it out? And it was just one of those, like, people like looked at me oddly. And that's when I kind of, every moment, every now and then, even though I was American born, there are still some foreignness about me just because of by virtue of my upbringing. And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. And your mother, I think your mother does not speak English very much or very well. I forget.
Yeah, she doesn't speak English very well.
Okay.
Very fortunate for her. My father was a breadwinner, right? My parents are in their 80s. So different generation. Mom didn't work. Yep. Mom stayed home, moved to a country for my father and didn't make a lot of friends. So her circle of friends were always pretty much within the Thai community. Yeah. Right. So yeah, but she did make friends with this one neighbor that we had who happened to be, can't remember if she was Taiwanese or Chinese. I think they're Taiwanese, but either way, imagine this poor woman and my mom both don't speak English, but they became best friends. And they went to like what do you call it, the local community to learn English class. And oh my God, it was the stuff, the homework. Funny. The homework they had together, you guys. Oh my gosh, Paul. Like it was very much like, like you're teaching any other language, but they were yelling at each other. It was so funny. Oh, such memories of them trying to correct each other's English, but both of it not being right.
Yeah, it's funny. Back in those days, I think, my grandparents they lived probably half their life in America and they never spoke English. I mean, because they surrounded themselves with people, like-minded people like themselves, all Italians, and there was no reason. They never ventured out of that circle. That's just the way it was back then. I think that's changing, obviously, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I have enjoyed so much of my time with you, Paul, as I always do, and thank you so much for being gracious to being my second guest on the Mike is Listening show. For those that want to get a hold of you, sir, and want to learn more about Business Brains and the Bottom Line, how can they get a hold or check out your good work?
Yeah, they can just go to, we have all the podcasts embedded in our website at www.prescriptive.solutions. No .com in there. Prescriptive.solutions, and just go there. All the podcasts are there. But if you get in touch with me, it's just DiLiegro at prescriptive.solutions. Shoot me an email.
So I screwed up that banner. Sorry, kid. I was trying to discreetly write that up in real time, and then I couldn't find the website like offhand. So we'll update that shortly.
Cool.
Sorry about that. But anyway, so Paul, it has been such a pleasure. So next week we are going to have Megan Van Petten. She is with Esports Connected, the host of, and also the general managing director of Esports Trade Association. So if you're wondering why I always push esports, it's because we produce the podcast for the Esports Future Eye Podcast Network. So Paul, I want to say thank you so much for your time. And as always, thank you so much. You're really the best.
Oh,
and
thanks, Syya. I appreciate it. No, this is a lot of fun. Anything I can do to help, you never have to ask me twice. You know that.
Quite frankly, the odds are high I will need you back because I just love our rapport, and we can always talk about other fun stuff because you've got so many exciting shows. So check out Business Brains and the Bottom Line. Paul Di Liegro, you are the best. And we will see you all next week. And don't forget Noonish, you guys. Don't forget the Noonish show.